A very good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are streaming from. Receive those humble greetings. My name is Piwe Mwabe. I am from South Africa. I am a content creator and content strategist, a storyteller, and a writer. And I'm also the founder of Buhlale Hub Africa. So we are an online platform where we amplify the voices of Africans on the continent, placing women, children, and the youth at the forefront. So we welcome you to day 3 of Entrepreneurship with Purpose conference. I am so excited. I'm very, very excited to be here on live with everybody. We are on a mission to tell stories of trailblazers this month of March, as it is International Women's Month this month. And we also want to celebrate women making strides in their fields. So I welcome you and I thank you so much for joining. And as you join in, please don't forget to drop a comment with where you are streaming with us from. Share your location. And if you are an entrepreneur, please also tell us what you do, tag your page so that we can know what you do. And if you're also an aspiring entrepreneur, please tell us what you want to do. And anybody out there watching, accessing the stream, please also let us know what you do. So if you're battling to access the stream, please head over to our YouTube channel. It's Piwe Mwabe as it appears on the screen. And let's get right into it. I'm so excited to be on here today. And because this is day 3 of the conference, I just want to open with, I just want to have an opening statement before we get in. So, women have the power to define. Let that simmer. This is just to just share what's going to be in store. Women have the power to define. So that's the statement before I introduce our guests. Nelly, how are you doing? How are you doing, Nelly? Can you hear us?
I'm good. How are you?
Um, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. Thank you so
I'm
much for.
great. I'm good to be here. Hey, I
We are
hope you can
happy.
hear me.
Yes, yes, we can hear you, but you just keep on breaking a little bit. Okay, now we can. Okay, please go ahead.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited for the opportunity to speak to you. And hi to everyone out there.
We are excited to have you here, Nelly. We are excited. And let's just get right into it. This is day 3 of Entrepreneurship with Purpose conference. Let's get right into it. Nelly, for those of you who don't know you, I just want you to take this time to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you are from, what you exactly do.
Okay. I'm Nelly Paulser,
Mhm.
uh, wedding stationery designer. I am an event stationery designer. I work at a graphic house that's in Bulawayo in Zimbabwe. And we offer not just wedding stationery and event stationery, but we offer graphic designing services, we offer printing services, and we offer branding services. That's who we are. I'm also personally, on a personal level, I'm a mom and a wife as well, a mom to 3 beautiful children.
Amazing. Good to hear from you, Mom. Good to hear from you. So, as I was preparing for today's conference, I was, I pulled a couple of reports just to understand more of your industry and, to analyze some of the trends, just to get a feel of everything that you do. And I came across this name Saki, I think it's Mafungukwa, something like that. He's the first Zimbabwean, native Zimbabwean, to open the first graphic design school in Zimbabwe. I was just so moved and automatically thought about you and like, wow, props to him. And I liked what
Mm.
his vision, you know, I liked what his vision resonated. The whole, his ambition to initiate African Renaissance. I really, really love that. And I just want to open with the first question by, you know, asking you the first question and open with what he usually says. So he said something like, we know better where we go when we know where we come from. That's what he says. And that's just to get right into it, get right into this conversation. Please take us through the journey of establishing Graphic House Zim.
Okay. Establishing a graphic house has not been the easiest of things. It comes with a lot of hard work, a lot of as you go. We operate in an environment that is drastic. It's an environment where to be ahead of the challenges that we experience as a business, as an environment, that everything changes above the situation. So running and assisting graphic house has not been easy. It has been one of the most challenging things for us. You'll find that it is also not a very comfortable journey, as we have to deal with the economy and how expensive things are on our end, but also try and make it real for the clients as they come in, because at the day the service that we do is beyond just offering the money from the client. The service that we do is a service where we want the best for the client. We want someone to leave there with a smile on their face. It's beyond just giving us. We want to create a relationship with the client. So you have to go out of the situation. You have to go above the environmental conditions in order to make sure our clients are happy at the end of the day. And you know, in the environment that we are in, but we really honestly try. And kudos to the all entrepreneurs that are in my environment and who are doing well, because really going above and beyond. On the top of my head, I can think of the upsides of our business established us in our environment. Being select was International Exhibition Fair. It was 2021, and I tell you, like ours, you know, when you expect people to notice you, you have to expect people to actually want to try and give you that chance. But I tell you, one amazed us, because we, as small as we are, actually got big organizations like blue chip companies calling us and asking us to offer them our services. And that was on its own, but it was just a lovely experience, because in as much as we are startups, it was like this was our chance to make a mark and show anyone else that, you know what, give startups a chance. They can actually do the job. And they, even though people have a belief to say, no, an established company is better to deal with, we actually prove above and beyond that we can deliver, and we to match those that they're used to in the industry. And that was one of the biggest challenges we had, but it was a high for us. And then on a low side, the environment that we here in Zimbabwe is one where you find that it is very difficult to get capital finance, and that's very difficult in Zimbabwe. You just walk around and say, I'm a business, and go with your business proposal and get money. It doesn't work that way now. In our environment, you've got to prove yourself, and you've got to be well connected in order to be able of finance. I believe that the world itself, or the environment itself, conforms to what you believe in. Because one thing I'll tell you is, even though our environment doesn't allow, we have actually network with entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs, showing us the other worked for a plus for Grant House as a whole, because in 2021 we ended our year on a high with us being offered a grant by Tony Elumelu himself, and that was just a plus for us, because it managed to set us up to a level where we could actually say, this we don't have in our business and we want to offer this service, so let's purchase this equipment. And that was okay. So though the environment is not so friendly, but we are trying above and beyond ourselves.
Amazing, amazing. I love what you said about the environment. You know, when you mentioned the environment in terms of Zim, and you also talk about the, you know, giving startups a chance. And that's what we are always advocating for in terms of female entrepreneurs, that please give startups an opportunity to showcase their work. And you know, you also mentioned a very important part element of your you know, your journey, startup finance. You know, you, as much as you have your savings, or you know, you're bootstrapping, it's not easy to have access to finance to start your entrepreneurial journey, which is a challenge to mostly women. So I love how you identify your environment being a challenge, and also having the correct mindset to say it's also how you look at it, which is something very important, and leads me to my following question in terms of, you know, let's stay there on the environment element of the question. I was reading about graphic design, the industry as a whole, and we all know that you know, statistics also show that it's a very male dominant industry. And I came across this organization, I think it's FDF movement in Nigeria, where they train women in terms of, in the space of design and tech, so that they can try and, you know, penetrate the design, the industry in itself. So I just wanted to ask you, if have you ever encountered any bias in this industry, as it is a male dominant industry? So what are some, and if you have encountered any bias, like, how do you deal with them?
In the industry that I'm in, which is male dominated industry, I bias almost every day. Single day that I walk into my office, I encounter bias. Not necessarily from the people that I work with, because the people that I work with have confidence in what I do. It is mainly the people that walk through the door. These are our people to inquire. You find that a woman that actually work, that's like, hold up, that's like a full stop right there. It's like there's no trust in the female entrepreneur to actually deliver. It's like it's not that they have not ever been given a service by a female entrepreneur, but it's more like we still live in that era where they believe a male entrepreneur would deliver more than a female entrepreneur. It's like there's no trust that a entrepreneur can actually do the work. And in my industry, you find that even though you've gone for training and you know the difference between certain things and you know the difference between certain materials, if you happen to give a suggestion to say, this particular work better for what you want, whether it's signage or something, you find that they will stop and they will want a male opinion first before they can get a female's opinion. And that is very discouraging for the female entrepreneur in our industry. But you find that because we are built with strength and a level of strength that not many people understand, that we can withhold all that criticism even before delivering this. And when you work at graphic house, a female will still work. And a male might give you your final product. Probably a female actually did the work in the first place. So people don't understand the power that a woman has and the power that a woman has to enable scenarios like that. The thing I'll tell you is entrepreneurs are just amazing. They're amazing. And you know, I appreciate a female entrepreneur in my industry.
Amazing. I'm so moved. At the same time, you know what's ringing in my head is the whole how dare you? You know, how dare you still exists? You know, when you know you say you work in this industry, and then the minute a man, you know, knows that a woman is going to be delivering on a certain project, is that how dare you? Can she even? It exists. How dare you? I call it the how dare you because it's that the minute they look at you, that I don't trust her. And how dare she take on such a
Yeah.
huge project? And I believe it's not in my head, but the how dare you exists. And we always have to conquer how dare you because you know the minute
Oh
somebody
yeah.
makes you feel inadequate, it's very difficult to go back and actually deliver the service. Hence, it's very important that you have a very strong mindset when you're a female entrepreneur. So when you encounter such challenges, you don't take them personally. You know, we can't take it personally because it's not our duty, right? We just have to try and look past the
Mm-hmm.
how dare you criticism, the I don't trust her. I don't trust her. And I
Yeah.
can only imagine what you go through. Yes. Sticking on that topic as well, can you just identify some of the challenges outside of gender in your organization, just graphic house, especially in terms of the pandemic? Did your business take a knock? How did the pandemic treat your industry? I think we lost you, Nelly.
IPA?
Hi, can you hear me, Nelly?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Please repeat your question.
I just wanted you to share some of the challenges that you experienced in the pandemic. Where did graphic house design take you know, graphic house Zim take a knock? Did it feel any? Did you feel any changes in terms of you know, the pandemic having an impact on so many businesses?
Okay, graphic house actually the pandemic when the pandemic era started, we actually had as a team decide on how we were going to do things. Before the pandemic, you find we spent most of our time doing things the old-fashioned way, where we depend on um, that came in. If someone did a referral of work, do that and that. But then, as we had to face this, which was the pandemic, we had to go above the situation, and we decided, no, you know what? Enough of being in a cocoon, and it's time for us to unleash Graphic House and let people know about Graphic House. So we went on to the internet and we put ourselves out there and we told people about our services. We had to change the way we were doing things, abiding to COVID restrictions at the time. But you find that we actually offered a convenient service for most of our new clients, because clients were looking for a company where they could just email, or where they could just WhatsApp their requirements. And you would find that Graphic House was probably one of the few that actually initiated them actually doing that, and then just coming to collect whatever it is they needed done. And our environment actually adjusted so fast to the new way of doing things that eventually we actually became a preferable service provider because of that. So did Graphic House get a knock? Not necessarily. The pandemic came, yes, but Graphic House actually grew for the time when there was a pandemic. And people actually supported us even more, because we became that convenience service provider that they were looking for. And I believe that the rate at which we grew over the pandemic was more than we anticipated. More than we anticipated. And today, here we still exist, which is a plus. But there are businesses out didn't take the pandemic so well, take a knock. Would have expected that the startups would have been one of the few to actually experience getters, and we went out there because of that.
Amazing. Amazing, 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 amazing. I love that I love that you touched on the adjusting, which is very important, and that's what the pandemic taught us, that we need to adjust and come out of doing things the old way. We are so accustomed to having certain systems in place, and then we have this disruption, which is the pandemic. It changes everything. It teaches us that we need to be flexible. We cannot be doing business the way we used to do business, because things do change. It happens. So I love that you mentioned that the pandemic also had an impact in you changing how you operate. You took yourself out, you took your service out to the world for people to see, which is something very important. And I believe many entrepreneurs learned in the space of the pandemic, or are currently learning with COVID-19, which is something amazing. And it's just also an emphasis to always, we should always have the conversation of breaking the digital divide, especially, for the African woman to have access to opportunities. Because yes, Nelly was able to still operate, but what about the woman who has a business in the villages, who's living in the villages? It's just for us to continuously be on that journey, or
True.
that raising awareness of the importance of breaking the digital divide in Africa. And this leads me to my next question. I read something so powerful, that the in a World Bank report published in 2018, and it stated that in Africa, female entrepreneurs confine themselves to traditionally female sectors, not because of a lack of skills or access to capital, but rather lack of information and social sectors, right? So what is it that we can do to rather encourage women to consider sectors that are reserved for men? Because I've seen that women, we confine ourselves because we hear male dominated industry like yourself. So how is it that we can encourage women to move away from confining themselves, to say that sector does not belong to a particular gender? Everybody else has access to that sector. We need to, as you're in a male dominant sector, I'd like to hear from you.
It's so encouraging for the females that are in male dominated sectors when you meet another female and you realize that she's managing to do it in that sector, so can I. One of the few, I believe I'm one of the few that have gone into a sector, even though that it was male dominated. I didn't need someone to hold my hand. But it doesn't necessarily mean every woman is like that. Some actually need the networking events where we meet. If we meet as graphic designers, but if it's an engineering workshop and they're female engineers, some women need those environments in order for them to actually be comfortable to say, I can actually do this business, or I can actually get to this industry. The networks really help, as well as just in-house like trainings, not necessarily in-house only, but also if we have trainings outside of where we invite other individual women in that industry, teach each other things in our industry. That helps because it allows you to see the other person in the industry. It helps you to learn something, because some actually have that extra uh, finance that can allow you to learn something new, maybe in another country. But you find that in my country, so us to have the trainings that allow us to work and get trained at the same time, because you get to learn how people do things, how someone else does this. You get to talk about it, you get to be comfortable because you know there are other women in that industry. The problem comes about when we don't have those networking events or we don't have those trainings as women, because someone can actually feel that they are alone in the industry. We are not alone at all. So I believe to break that bias, or to create that atmosphere for women to be comfortable in the male dominated, then we definitely have more trainings. We definitely to have more network opportunities, and we shouldn't be afraid to do them because they've never been done before. We need to take the bull by its horns and actually create those events so that other women can also come and other women can partake. And network, you guys can actually start different events together as a group of maybe graphic designers or a group of engineers. That can also assist you to know what other forms can expose us to events can that.
Amazing. That's on point. That's on point. I love that you mentioned the spaces, creating spaces, and the importance of networking. I'm always going to emphasize how important it is for us to network. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether I don't know, but you just need to network, because that is how you have access to certain people and certain opportunities. And creating a space, for, like you said, space for maybe graphic designers to train each other will enable or give women the courage to step out, and to step out of confinement and into these male dominated industries, and not think that male dominated industries belong to men alone. This is all about, it's all about the skill, the type of skill that you bring. So whether you're a man or a woman, you fit in. So I really appreciate what you said about this,
Yeah,
creating spaces and networking. I don't take for granted networking. Networking will put you in places that you could never even walk in, just because of
yeah,
networking. So anybody listening, even female entrepreneurs who are in these male dominated industries, maybe you should consider finding each other and grouping yourself so that you can train each other, motivate and encourage each other. And those who are outside wanting to, step in, be motivated by what you do. And also receive training, like Nelly said, the importance of training as well, because I also believe, like you said, the access of like information and opportunity. Sometimes it's very expensive for you to send yourself to school to go and study graphic design or whatever, a certain course that you want to pursue. But if you find these networks of women, you can maybe access training. So I really love what you said about that. And this leads me into my second last question. I pulled another report in the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, and it stated like 1 million women across the globe have started businesses over the last 5 years alone. This is a report in published in 2020, and then it stated that the highest percentage of these women reside in Africa, which is very it's amazing. Power to that. um I wanted to find out
Yeah.
from you, it's amazing. Like, I'm always going to, you know, emphasize that those statistics when I find them out, because once again, it's that African women are putting us on the map. Like, we are being
Oh
placed on
yeah.
the
Oh
map. So
yeah.
it's always, it's not only, when they put one on the map, they put everybody on the map. So it excites me.
Oh
So when
yeah.
you do something, when you do something amazing as an African woman, you're not putting Zimbabwe alone. You're putting the rest of us African women trying to, go through life's challenges, and we want to overcome patriarchy and everything. So I wanted to find out from you,
Yeah.
why do we need to empower women to remain in business and not give up? Because I've also seen that women tend to get to a point where they give up. Why do we need to encourage them to remain in business?
Okay, Piwe. Women have, let me say, from a young age, women have been taught to get a doll. Your mom or dad buys you a doll. You're told to look after the doll. You're told to change the diaper. You're told to feed the doll. You even have a schedule. I remember when I was young, I had a my doll. So that now it's time for the doll to feed, doll to be changed. Now it's time for my doll to take a bath. We did everything. We would make sure that we changed the baby. And that groomed us as women. And if every woman had the opportunity to do that, and it groomed us to people that take care of not just ourselves, but some. And because that is our strength, women. Our strength is beyond ourselves. Female entrepreneurs also beyond ourselves. Because women, when they work, yes, they work with their heart. What does that mean? That means we beyond just us and what we want to achieve as individuals. We look at how do we help the next person. So when we create employment, we don't just create employment just to fill places. We don't conduct interviews just to fill up the opportunity, but we create employment and then look for those particular interviewees, candidates who have an opportunity that they can say, I have connections, or I am wealthy, or I am someone who easily can get a job in this company. We look beyond that. When we employ, we look at who is the underprivileged person who needs this job. Who is that person who is an orphan and needs this job because they're taking care of people back home? We look for individuals who we know when they get the job, they will not just work hard, but they will appreciate the job. So we look at of or gaps in in our country where we say, yeah, as women we see and we take care of ourselves. When one woman gets an opportunity in an industry, we know to make sure the orphans are closed. She's going to make they're well fed. She's going to make sure that whoever doesn't have a roof over their head gets a roof over their head. That's how we are built. And that's who we are, individuals. So when you empower a woman, you empower a nation. And most people don't understand that. I wonder, what do they mean men recently? And they all men, women, you guys are taking, we know what is expected. We know how to build a nation. We know to build a nation. And because of certain that when you empower a woman, you an entrepreneur, you know that go beyond, will grow years, but she will empower other people around, she will empower a community. That's how we're built.
Amazing. Amazing. I completely loved what you said about women work with their hearts. That resonated with me
Yeah.
because that is true. I also love what you said about women also fill the gaps. When you hire, it's like you mentioned the recruitment process. You look for the one who needs the opportunity. That's working with your heart. You look for the one who needs the opportunity. Sometimes you tend to forget that no, they don't have the skill, but they need the opportunity. And I trust that if I teach them the skill, they will learn. So that is also amazing. It clearly does. It resonates with me so much, and just constantly reminds me that women are changing the face of entrepreneurship. That's why we need more female entrepreneurs. And this leads me to
Oh, yeah.
my final question to you. Why is it important that women take up spaces and cement them?
Important that women take up spaces and cement them, because we do that, the more we change the face of enterprise, we change the face of nations, the more we'll actually build nations, because women are not only about our country and ourselves. You find I'll network with someone in South Africa, I'll network with someone in local network with someone, and we try and bring these nations together. And if we can't live as entrepreneurs to bring nations together, then we failed as entrepreneurs. And this is why it's so important to allow women to take up those spaces, because these are people who understand how to bring people together, who understand how to bring nations together, and who understand the value of collaboration at all levels. So it is important for women to take up those spaces. And for those that actually fear taking up those spaces, they have the courage in order to take those spaces, because we need them. In as much as they think that they're not valuable, actually need them to stand up and take space.
Amazing. I love what you said about the value of collaboration, because it's true. Women value collaboration. It takes me knowing a woman in Ghana, a woman in Nigeria, a woman in Zimbabwe. Like we value collaboration because with collaboration, so much more can be done. I believe in that. And with the discussion that we had, I just jotted three very important points before we close that I just want to put out there, that we need to create conducive environments for women's entrepreneurship. We need to recognize that women are an integral part of economic growth, social development, and sustainability. And lastly, the future of the African continent lies in the hands of female entrepreneurs. I thank you so much, Nelly,
Yes.
for your time. Thank you for sharing so much of your insight on Entrepreneurship with Purpose Conference Day 3. We value wisdom, we value information sharing. we value a female voice. We value female voices on the continent. So I thank you so much for your time. I thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you, and I appreciate so much. And if anybody wants to reach out to Nelly, I have linked her website so that you can have a look at the work that she does. It's Graphic House Zim. Have a look at the work that she does. Reach out to her personally if you have any questions or also want to collaborate, or any opportunities that you may have for her. Please do reach out to her. Don't be a stranger. And from me, I thank you so much for joining today, day three of our conference. And this is Entrepreneurship with Purpose, conference day 3. And my name is Piwe Mwabe. I thank you so much. See you soon. Bye, Nelly.